Most engines that die early do not die from bad oil. They die because the owner never checked what was in the oil, never inspected the drain plug, never opened the fill cap to look at the sludge building up in the valve cover, and never sent a single sample to a lab. And by the time the check engine light comes on, the bearings are already scored, the head gasket is already weeping, or the timing chain guides are already worn through. Today, we are breaking down exactly what to do before every oil change, the 12 pre-drain moves that catch engine damage while it is still cheap to fix. Every one of these takes less than 5 minutes, none require special tools, and together they are the reason some engines cross 300,000 miles while identical ones die at 120,000. This is the routine million-mile owners actually run. I am backing every move with real numbers from Blackstone Laboratories oil analysis, consumer reports, AAA, and real repair cost figures, so you know exactly what each check is saving you. Engines rarely die all at once. They die slowly, and the death starts long before you hear it. Bearings wear when metal debris circulates in dirty oil, and once a bearing scores the crankshaft, you are looking at an engine rebuild. Oil starvation from a slow leak or heavy consumption wipes out a top end in minutes. A head gasket lets coolant into the oil, and the milky mix stops protecting metal. Timing chain guides wear through, the chain stretches, and on an interference engine, the valves meet the pistons. Sludge from short trips and long intervals blocks oil passages until the engine chokes on its own residue. Every one of those failures sends warning signs into the oil, onto the drain plug, and onto the fill cap first. AOA reports that a major repair like an engine replacement runs from $4,000 to $10,000 or more, and an April 2017 ADLA survey found that 64 million American drivers would not be able to pay for an unexpected vehicle repair without going into debt, with the average repair bill landing between $500 and $600. The pre-drain inspection is how you find the $200 problem before it becomes the $6,000 one. The people who cross 1,000,000 miles are not lucky. Irv Gordon put 3,250,257 miles on one Volvo, and he did it with fanatical, hands-on attention to the car. That attention is the whole game, and it starts before the oil ever hits the drain pan. The walk-around check. The first 3 moves happen before you touch a wrench. You are reading the engine while it is running and warm, because heat reveals leaks, and warm oil tells the truth that cold oil hides. Move 1. Warm the engine to full operating temperature before you drain a drop. Take a 10 to 15 minute drive. Get the oil hot, then let the car sit for 5 to 10 minutes so the oil settles back into the pan and cools just enough to handle safely. This matters more than most people think. When oil is cold, it is thick. It clings to every internal surface, and the contaminants it carries settle to the bottom of the pan and stick there. Drain it cold, and you leave a meaningful slug of old, dirty oil behind to contaminate your fresh fill. Warm oil flows faster, drains more completely, and keeps the metal particles, carbon, and moisture suspended, so they leave with the oil instead of staying in your engine. Engineers at Liqui Moly told Diesel Army that from a maintenance standpoint, you should always drain the oil warm, because the dirt and sediment stay suspended in warm, circulated oil rather than stuck in the nooks and crannies. Do not drain it scalding, just warm enough to flow and cool enough not to burn you. This one free step makes every other move on this list more accurate, because the oil coming out actually represents what is happening inside. Move 2. With the engine still warm, do a full leak inspection before you get under the car to drain. Warmth thins the oil and raises pressure slightly, so a seep that hides on a cold engine will show itself now. Look at the valve cover gasket along the top of the engine, the oil pan gasket at the bottom, the front timing cover, and the front and rear main seals where the crankshaft exits the block. You are hunting for wet, shiny film, fresh drips, or caked oily grime that collects dust. A weeping valve cover gasket is a cheap fix. A rear main seal that has gone from a seep to a steady drip is a far bigger labor bill, and a leak you ignore can drop your oil level low enough to starve the engine between changes. RepairPal puts an engine front cover gasket replacement between $1,224 and $1,716, which is real money for a part that started as a $5 seep you could have watched. Catching a leak early does 2 things. It tells you why your oil might be low, and it lets you plan the repair on your schedule instead of on the side of the road. Move 3. Before you drain anything, pull the coolant reservoir cap and look inside. This is the move almost nobody makes, and it is the one that catches the most expensive failure on this list. You are checking whether oil has gotten into the coolant. A shimmery, oily film floating on the coolant, or a thick brown or tan sludge that looks like a chocolate milkshake, means oil and coolant are mixing where they never should. That points to a failing head gasket, a cracked head, or a leaking oil cooler. You want to catch this before you drain the oil, because if the two fluids are already mixing, your oil change plan changes completely and you need a diagnosis, not just fresh oil. RepairPal's national average for head gasket replacement is $2,475 to $3,246, and far more if overheating warped the head. 30 seconds looking into the coolant tank can flag a 4-figure repair while it is still contained before it turns into an overheating event that cooks the whole engine. The dipstick check. The dipstick is the cheapest diagnostic tool your car will ever have, and most people only use it to read a level. These next 3 moves treat it like the lab sample it actually is. Move 4. Pull the dipstick and read 3 things: color, smell, and feel. Healthy oil that has some miles on it is dark amber to brown, and that is fine. Dark oil is doing its job. What you are looking for is anything abnormal. Milky, frothy, or tan oil on the stick means coolant has gotten into the oil, which ties straight back to the head gasket check you just did. A strong gasoline smell means fuel is diluting your oil, a common problem on gasoline direct injection engines, which we spell out as GDI, where fuel sprays past the rings and washes into the sump. A sharp burnt smell means the oil has been cooked by overheating or run way too long. Blackstone Laboratories flags fuel dilution on a gasoline engine once it reaches about 2% because fuel thins the oil below its rated grade and strips away its ability to protect metal. The dipstick will not give you a percentage, but it will give you a warning, and that warning tells you whether this is a normal change or the first sign of a real problem. Move 5. Rub a drop of the old oil between your thumb and finger. This is the grit test, and it is exactly what it sounds like. Healthy oil feels smooth and slick, even when it is dark. If it feels gritty or sandy, you are feeling metal wear particles or dirt intrusion, and that is a signal that something inside is grinding itself down, or that dirt is getting past the air filter. If it feels thin and watery with a milky tint, you are feeling coolant or water contamination. If it feels thick, tacky, and sludgy, that points to oil left in far too long, or an engine living on short trips that never burn off moisture. Your fingers are not a laboratory, but they are surprisingly good at catching the extremes. Blackstone judges wear metals like iron largely by trend, and a typical gasoline engine at a 5,000-mile interval reads iron in the single digits to low 20s in parts per million, which we say as parts per million. You cannot feel single-digit numbers, but you can absolutely feel the grit that shows up when a bearing is failing, and that early warning is free. Move 6. Verify your oil level against the full mark, and check the last service sticker against your actual odometer. 2 problems show up here. If the level is low, you either have a leak, which you just inspected for, or the engine is consuming oil, and consumption is its own warning sign. Consumer Reports has documented that some newer engines burn enough oil between long factory recommended intervals to run dangerously low, and because many owners no longer check their oil, they run the sump low and cause major damage. The other problem is overfill. If a shop overfilled you last time, the level will sit above the full mark, and too much oil gets whipped into foam by the crankshaft, which ruins its ability to lubricate and can push out seals. Then check the sticker math. If the sticker says you were due 2,000 miles ago, that is useful information about how hard this oil has worked. Consumer Reports advises going by the interval in your owner's manual, not by a shop sticker that may be set shorter to bring you back sooner. Comment which of these you already do religiously and which one you are going to add next oil change. I read them, and it tells me what to cover next. The fill cap and filter. Now we go up top and then down to the plug. These 3 moves read the deposits your engine leaves behind, and deposits do not lie. Move 7. Twist off the oil fill cap and look at the underside. You are checking for a yellow, tan, or off-white foam that looks like mayonnaise or custard stuck to the cap and the filler neck. That emulsion is oil mixed with water or coolant. This is the honest part because a lot of channels get this wrong. A light film on the very top of the cap is very often just condensation from short trips, especially in cold weather, and it burns off on a good long highway drive. What you do not want to see is that same creamy sludge showing up on the dipstick too, with the oil turning cloudy and coolant disappearing from the reservoir. That combination points to coolant getting into the oil, and that sends you back to the head gasket diagnosis. So use the cap as an early alarm, not a final verdict. If it is a little film up top and your coolant level is steady, take it for a hard, fully warm drive and check again. If it is thick, spreading down the threads, and paired with any other symptom, stop and diagnose before you drive it hard. Move 8. With the fill cap off, shine a flashlight down into the opening and look at the valve train. You are checking the parts you can actually see, the cam and rocker area, for wear and buildup. Clean metal with a light film of oil is what you want. Heavy dark varnish, a thick tar-like coating, or golden brown lacquer on the components tells you the oil has been cooking or sitting too long, and that sludge is the same stuff blocking oil passages deeper in the engine. Certain engines have known histories worth watching here. The Toyota 2 AZ-FE 4-cylinder became notorious enough for oil consumption that Toyota issued Warranty Enhancement Program ZE7, extending coverage to 10 years or 150,000 miles and replacing pistons and rings on engines that failed an oil consumption test. Volkswagen and some Toyota engines have documented sludge histories, and timing chain guide wear plagues a number of modern engines. You will not see the chain guides through the fill hole, but dark, heavy varnish up top is a strong hint that the hidden parts are suffering the same neglect. Move 9. When the drain plug finally comes out, do not just toss it in the pan. Wipe it off and photograph it, especially if it is a magnetic plug. A magnetic drain plug collects ferrous debris, and reading it is a genuine diagnostic. A light gray fuzz or paste of fine particles is completely normal. That is ordinary wear the magnet is doing its job to capture. What you are looking for is trouble, hard chunks, shiny metallic flakes, or slivers that catch the light. Bright reflective flakes can mean bearing material or hardened wear surfaces are breaking apart, and that is your cue to slow down and investigate before you run fresh oil over failing parts. Take a photo every single change, and you build a visual record, so next time you can see whether the debris is getting worse or holding steady, which is exactly how the pros read wear. While the plug is out, inspect the crush washer too. A flattened, torn, or reused washer is how slow drain plug leaks and stripped threads start, and a fresh washer costs almost nothing. The analysis. The last 3 moves turn your oil change into real data. This is where you stop guessing and start knowing, the way million-mile owners do. Move 10. Cut open the old oil filter and look inside the pleats. A filter cutter is an inexpensive tool, often around $30, and it opens the canister so you can unroll the paper element. Spread the pleats and look closely for metal flakes, shavings, chunks of gasket material, or anything that does not belong. The filter has spent the entire interval catching the debris that circulated through your engine, so it is the single best physical record of what came loose. Fine glitter can be normal break-in on a newer engine, but bright metal flakes or larger particles trapped in the pleats point to internal wear that needs attention. Pair this with what you saw on the drain plug. If the magnet caught shiny flakes and the filter pleats are sparkling too, those two readings confirm each other, and you have caught a developing failure with a $30 tool instead of a $6,000 teardown. Even when the filter is clean, you have gained certainty, and certainty is what lets you extend intervals with confidence instead of fear. Move 11. Send a 3-ounce sample of the old oil to Blackstone Laboratories for analysis. This is the move that separates people who guess from people who know. Blackstone's standard sample runs $40 or $50 with the total base number added, and the sample kits are free, with every report written in plain English. The lab tells you your wear metal levels in parts per million for iron, aluminum, copper, and lead, your fuel dilution percentage, your viscosity, and, if you add it, your total base number, which we spell out as TBN, the measure of how much active additive is left in the oil. Blackstone gives you universal averages for your specific engine, so you can see whether your numbers are normal, and the real power comes from trending sample after sample. Fresh gas engine oil starts with a TBN around 6 or 7, and Blackstone states that once a TBN reaches 2.0 or less, they consider that too low to continue running the oil. fuel dilution over about 2% gets flagged, and a rising iron trend that climbs above your engine's average is an early warning that can appear tens of thousands of miles before a failure would ever announce itself. For $40, that is the cheapest insurance in the automotive world. Move 12. Before you pour in fresh oil, verify the exact spec yourself, and do not simply trust whatever the shop hands you. Open the owner's manual and confirm 3 things. First, the viscosity grade, the number like 0W20 or 5W30 that is set by the Society of Automotive Engineers, standard SAEJ 300, and running the wrong grade changes how the oil protects at temperature. Second, the certification, the American Petroleum Institute, or API, service rating in the round donut symbol, and the International Lubricant Standardization and Approval Committee, or ILSAC, starburst on the front. Current gasoline engines call for API-SP, which passed specific tests for timing chain wear, and for low-speed pre-ignition, which we say as LSPI, the destructive early combustion event that can crack pistons in turbocharged GDI engines. Using an oil that lacks the correct rating can actually trigger LSPI in those engines. Third, if your manufacturer calls for a European specification, confirm the European Automobile Manufacturers Association, or ACEA, rating 2. Verify the oil filter part number while you are at it. The wrong grade or an uncertified oil undoes every good thing the other 11 moves accomplished. The million-mile routine. None of this is theory. Irv Gordon drove his 1966 Volvo P1800 to 3,250,257 miles, a Guinness World Record, and Volvo credited it to his fanatical, hands-on maintenance and the fact that no one else ever drove the car. Gregorios Sachinidis, a Greek taxi driver, put 4.6 million kilometers, about 2.85 million miles, on a 1976 Mercedes-Benz 240D through relentless fluid changes and constant filter replacement, and the car now sits in the Mercedes Museum. John Freeland took a 2000 Ford F350 with a 7.3-liter Power-Stroke diesel past 1.3 million miles on the original engine and transmission, keeping paper records of every trip and treating the engine like a long-distance athlete. A 1996 Dodge Ram with the 5.9-liter Cummins reached 3,016,789 miles in University Dodge's records of the Cummins Million Mile Club. Every one of these owners did a version of what you just learned. They watched their fluids, they read the signs early, and they fixed the small thing before it became the big one. The car did not make them. The routine did. So that is the routine. 12 moves, 5 minutes each, done before the oil ever leaves the pan. Warm it, inspect it, read the dipstick, check the cap, read the plug and the filter, send the sample, and verify the spec before you refill. Do these, and you stop being the owner whose engine dies at 120,000 miles for no reason they ever saw coming, and you start being the one whose engine just keeps going. Which of these 12 are you already doing, and which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments because I genuinely want to know how many of you are already reading your drain plugs. If this saved you a repair bill, or even just made you think differently about your next oil change, subscribe and stick around. Your engine will thank you for it.